The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of KSMQ Public Service Media Incorporated or its assigns.
Welcome to On Cue. I'm your host, Eric Olson. On today's program, Shannon Hart, director of the Apple Lane Childcare Center, joins us to give us the rundown and a sneak peek of their new facility under construction. We are also happy to welcome Susan Olson from Austin, who was recently appointed to the Lessard-Sams Outdoor Heritage Council. And Laura Helle will recap some of the latest accomplishments of Vision 2020. Stay tuned for On Cue.
From KSMQ Television in Austin, this is On Cue, connecting interesting issues and interesting people. On Cue.
Susan Olson has a long list of accomplishments when it comes to natural resources conservation, so it is no surprise that she was recently nominated to the Lessard-Sams Outdoor Heritage Council. She's here today to tell us more about her new post. Congratulations, Susan.
Thank you very much.
Now, you are a busy person. Besides enjoying the outdoors and being a hunter yourself, you work at Hormel Foods as an attorney, so you've got a jam-packed life. How in the world did this come about to want to go forward with this kind of public service? It's quite an undertaking.
Well, thanks. It actually is going to be quite a challenge. I'm really looking forward to it. I was approached last fall to look at the possibility of trying to get onto the council. There's only 12 people on the council, and I thought that it might be a good change of pace. I've been involved in our Pheasants Forever chapter for 7 years and was looking for something a little bit more challenging than what I've been doing. So to my surprise, I actually was appointed by the governor for the position.
And this amount of money is very large for outdoor restoration, habitat type of things, and it came about from the Legacy Amendment. Am I right on that?
That is correct. In 2007, Minnesota, as a state, made the constitutional amendment saying basically outdoor heritage is important to us and we want to make sure it's there for future generations. When that came about, 3/8 of a cent of sales, 3/8 of 1% of a sales tax increase was put into place in order to begin to develop funding in order to keep these programs going and to have more habitat available. So once that started, the Lessard-Sams Outdoor Heritage Council Fund was created to spend 1/3 of that amount. And this last year, the appropriation is $91 million that is going into outdoor heritage in Minnesota.
As you come into your 4-year term of
4 years.
service, what do you think are the top few conservation issues in Minnesota that you might be able to make a difference?
What I really want to see the most of is development and acquisition of areas that can be used for the public, that are used and supported for the wildlife, enough habitat for the wildlife to live in the parts of Minnesota that don't have very much of it. For example, southeastern Minnesota has very few areas of large public habitat that is available for hunting. Our pheasant population has just been decimated the last 20 years because everything is such great farmland that everyone's farming from row to row. Until you put those CRP strips back in or the 500-acre plots back in, there's nowhere for the habitat to live.
And do you work, or I suppose it's too early to say, but there are so many other organizations and groups that work on conservation issues and soil management and the watersheds and all that stuff. So they all have to kind of work together with you so that you're all on the same page, or that would just seem to be so difficult.
It's interesting how these different agencies will work together. Everyone in the list that you just named off has the same general end goal. We want to see this sustained and permanently protected for future generations and for people to use today. Pheasants Forever gets a large block of grant funding from the council, National Wild Turkey Federation, Minnesota Deer Hunters Association, Isaac Walton League. You'll see all of these conservation organizations that have local chapters getting money from the Outdoor Heritage Fund in order to perpetuate the projects, to restore the lands, and to acquire new lands.
Okay. And folks, this is basically a volunteer. I mean, position. You're doing all of your Hormel work.
Yes.
You go up to meetings, what, a dozen times a year?
About 12 times a year there will be meetings. Some of that, like three of the meetings are back-to-back in June.
But there
so
must be thousands of requests. I mean, or...
In the Outdoor Heritage Fund, because we've kept the council before me has kept the list of eligible projects narrow. They get between 40 and 50 grant applications per year. Oh. Last year, 33 of them were funded, but I can tell you, I helped the Moore County Pheasants Forever chapter and Minnesota Deer Hunters Association write a grant that went to the Lessard Council 3 years ago, and it was for about $50,000 and it was 85 pages long. So the grants that we're looking at now are in the tune of $6 to $10 million, and you can imagine how much homework there's going to be reading those grant applications, even though there's only 30 to 50 of them.
So these aren't small.
No.
These are huge groups
These are huge groups that do a ton of homework to find just exactly the right kind of thing that will work to get everybody on board together. If you're acquiring land, the DNR or U.S. Fish and Wildlife has to agree to take it, so that then they would become the owner of it. They would become the keeper of the land, the one to maintain it as it goes forward over the years. You have to have all of these things set up in advance before your grant can even be legitimately considered.
And we have some well done, some pictures, some examples of some great work from Lessard-Sams already.
Yes, in southeastern Minnesota there is a Garvin Brook. That's one of the ones where there was a permanent easement granted to enhance a trout stream and give public access up and down that stream. They've got 3,625 feet of stream available now for trout fishing that people in the public didn't have before.
What else do you have there to share?
I've got Whitewater Wildlife Management Area also in southeastern Minnesota, and that's one that the Outdoor Heritage Fund has given $238,000 in the last 3 years for upgrading the forestry work in that area.
Wow. So you really will be able to make a difference.
Yes. Yes, it's actually pretty neat. If you go to the Lessard-Sams Outdoor Heritage Council website, you can find a lot of information on past projects. You can see the minutes from every meeting because it's open meeting laws. You can find out exactly what the council's doing, who's on the council, what is the recommendation for the year, and where is the council trying to take it forward to.
Put on your pheasants hat. Give us a couple favorite spots that you like to go around here, or don't you give those up? Is that you don't
I got a little 6 of one and half dozen of the other. Actually, in Moore County, we have been working very hard in the Pheasants Forever chapter, which have been the past president of for several years. But we are trying to get a large wildlife management area just north of Austin expanded to be a total of 550 acres. It's currently 300 and some now. So we're working on that, and I'm hoping to get the ball rolling before I step full-time into the Lessard-Sams position, because there's a conflict of interest and I have to back out of it. But when that one is restored, it's going to be some wonderful pheasant hunting and literally 5 minutes from Austin.
That's the future, though. What about now? Where are you going? Where's your spots?
Right now, we have one about 10 miles west of town, west of Austin. It's called Lost Lake Waterfowl Production Area. The Moore County chapter bought the land completely and donated it to U.S. Fish and Wildlife. The chapter restored the land and put in 2 ponds, and there are deer and ducks and beautiful songbirds and everything that are out there now that the public can use. Again, 10 minutes from Austin. Beautiful hunting area.
All right, Susan, thank you very much, and we'll have more from On Cue right after this short break.
You can watch On Cue anytime by visiting the KSMQ TV website, ksmq.org.
Welcome back to On Cue. I'm Eric Olson. Well, we've had a lot of construction projects going on here at our studios at Riverland Community College here in Austin. And part of the project is going to be benefiting and working alongside a big new neighbor that we're going to have here at the community college, and that's Apple Lane Childcare Center. And Shannon Hart, director, joins us. Folks may recognize you from years that you've been on the station for other initiatives over the years. Welcome to On Cue. And we're talking about the big new expansion of Apple Lane here at the community college. You've been here 7 years in a smaller facility, and you're going to be you're bursting at the seams, so building a big new facility to go along with the one you have at St. Edward's.
Correct.
In Austin. How's the project going?
It's moving along very nicely. We actually have been at St. Edward's Catholic Church now for 26 years, going on 27, and then we also expanded out at the Riverland site here about 7 years ago. So we do have a pretty good program going on in the community, and its longevity has been fantastic. So we're expanding.
And the new one is going to be larger by scale. I mean,
yeah, we are. Currently, we service about 190 children on average on an annual basis. At this new facility, we'll service probably 300 plus children at the new facility. So we're expanding quite a bit. We see in the community as well as around the state, there's a huge need for infant and toddler care. So that's one of the areas that we're trying to expand to accommodate to working parents and parents that are going to school to get their post-secondary education. So infant care, we technically usually have between 68 to 70 kids on our wait list on an annual basis for just infant care.
Really?
So there's a need there. We're seeing that. So we're trying to help out to provide that community service to help with that, alleviate some of those waiting lists.
Has the business, since you've been at St. Edward's for 26 years, I think it'd be interesting, how has that business changed as far as the caring of the children? Has that changed much, or is it pretty much the same?
A little bit. I think being involved with more statewide initiatives throughout the years and seeing what the needs are for early childhood education. We started out in 1986 as a small program where we had a Montessori-style preschool program and a 3-year-old program. So we started out with 2 classrooms basically, serving maybe 40 kids at the time. Now, going into the 2013 year here, we are looking at providing care as young as 6 weeks all the way up to through school age. So a broad spectrum of ages. We're seeing the need for promoting more educational programming in our facility. It's just not childcare anymore. It's early education and promoting curriculum, doing school readiness activities, doing a lot more hands-on activities with the kids, starting at as young as infancy. We're seeing a huge importance of that. And of course, parents are the first teachers, so engaging parents in those opportunities as well. So,
is that changing because there are more single parent kids, or just the way you interact with kids? Because I'm thinking when they're little, you're changing diapers and they're eating and sleeping, and that's about it. I mean, that hasn't changed that much, has it?
There's a lot more to that, really, it really is. There's reading to infants, and it's singing and doing sign language and things like that, doing actual activities with the children. There's as young as they are, they listen, and they're so observant on what's going on around in their surroundings and things. So we do a lot of things even with the infants when they're awake, doing tummy times to strengthen their muscles and their necks and their backs so that they're able to be
working
more
out? These little
they
kids,
are.
come
They're on their
on.
bellies and they're getting up there and they're moving. So the importance of just not just the nurturing and the eating and feeding and the diapering and things like that. That's of course is a big part of it too. But the education and the nurturing is a huge piece when it comes to infant care.
Well, with the larger facility, it's going to be, talk a little bit about like square footage compared to where you are now, and how will that impact what the children can do?
Yeah, we have, currently we're in a small space over here. We have about 3 classrooms currently in the Riverland site. We have 6 classrooms over in our facility over at St. Ed's Church. The new facility, it's about 17,000 square foot of usable space over there. So you're looking at quite a bit.
What is that?
We have probably about 5,000 at our main site right now.
So triple the size.
Yeah, yep. Yep. So, and having opportunities to have a little bit more room for large motor experiences, meaning like a gym, kind of a area for the kids to do, you know, climbing on climbers and doing bikes and basketball and all those large motor physical kind of activities as well. So that's going to be nice.
And I was talking, and this is just chit chat in the hallway with somebody here at Riverland, but they thought, gee, there might be opportunities for example, there's a criminal justice program here.
Yep.
You know, could there be some back and forth with learning,
Yep.
not from the college student standpoint, you know, some way to interact with, I don't know, interviewing kids, or there's of course the medical program here.
Yep.
Is there a way that the students at the higher level, the college students, can interact?
Yep. We do that currently here at both of our sites. We do have our nursing program that is very a good partnership there, where the students come in, do their clinicals. Our kids have to have healthcare summaries, immunizations, all those types of things to be enrolled in our program. And just the whole child development piece for nursing students to be able to come in and do some observing of the children and things like that too. So we do have some partnerships there, as well as interns through the Human Services program. They come in and do their hands-on learning experiences, as well as you know, other early childhood programs. I'm hoping at some point we could have an early childhood program for students to go ahead and get their early childhood degree here at Riverland at some point. I hope that's something that
like a certification program.
Yeah.
That's currently not here.
We currently don't have that. We have a human
Okay.
services program here at Riverland, but we don't have its own early childhood development program here. So we're hoping maybe in the future that might be a possibility for engaging additional partnerships.
Do you need like an associate's degree for that, or like a state certification?
Yeah.
What is it that they would get?
Yeah, currently Rochester RCTC offers a child development program over there, and it's a certification. So that's a 1 to 2 year program. A lot of our staff will go on to either you know, a 4-year program in early childhood, or early elementary, you know, that kind of a degree, just based on where their goals are. But most of our teachers have a 2 or 4 year degree in elementary or educational program.
Really?
Yep.
So it's not a requirement to work at your place?
We do have a requirement. The state sets guidelines for our staff. So our staff have to have post-secondary education and credits. Yep. Yep.
Because, but like home daycares, they don't have that, do they? Or what is the?
There are a variety of family childcare providers that do have the degrees in early childhood education or other degrees. The state doesn't currently require them to have that. They do have to have continuing education credits throughout the year, though, as far as you know, your CPR, your first aid, as well as child development courses and things like that, just as well as we do too. So.
And what's the need of our region for daycare? Is it just we need more of it, or are there specific kinds of services that we're not providing?
I believe that, you know, just through my experience through the last 20 years, infant and toddler care are prevalent when it comes to needs. And the reasoning why that is family child care providers do provide that as well, but you can only take care of so many children at one given time, as well as in a center-based program. I'll give an example. The ratio for a child care center, you can have 4 infants to 1 teacher. So when you take a look at the needs there, that's not a whole, you can't take care of a lot of children at one given time. You know, so your ratios to staff are a lot lower in child care centers, as well as family child care. So the need there, if for instance, a family child care provider can only have 2 children under the age of 2 in their home. So when you're looking at the needs there, and when you look at the providers of what you have in your community, it really doesn't help out with, that's why we have such a huge waiting list as well.
Right, you do have a huge waiting list.
Yeah, so there's not enough child care.
So you started in the fall, what's the date?
The projected opening date? As of right now, we're looking at, if everything kind of timelines go according to plan, the second week in June is what we're hoping that we will be in the facility.
And will you be moving everything over there, or will you keep what
Yep.
you've got now?
We'll move both facilities to that location. Yep.
Okay.
We're going to go ahead and keep our school age care in our existing facility here and bolster our school age program to enhance, to accommodate for more children, as well as add to more programming for our school age care. So.
Oh, what kind of programming are you looking at doing?
We're looking at, children that are school age. They're technically here before and after school, non-school days, and summer program. Our summer program, our teacher does a fantastic job at incorporating math and science concepts, more hands-on learning, nutrition, those types of things, the physical attributes when it comes to being healthy, those kinds of things. The space will allow us to have more science kind of areas set up, for the kids to continue doing some workshops and things like that there.
And Shannon, every day when all those kids leave Shannon's care, she tells each parent, watch KSMQ when you get home,
yes,
because of all that wonderful PBS Kids program,
it
don't
is.
you?
Yeah. PBS has been a highlight throughout my whole life, so it's very good educational programming. So.
I made you say that because we're on. Anywho, thanks Shannon Hart for being here. And
thanks.
Congrats on your growth, and we look forward to having you back when you're up and running in your new location.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We'll be right back with our Vision 2020 segment as On Cue continues.
Queue up your own comments for On Cue and send them to us at onq@ksmq.org. On Cue's Vision 2020 segment is brought to you by Hormel Foundation, Games People Play, and Turtle Creek Estates.
And welcome back to On Cue. Time to check in and get a little Vision 2020 update. And here's Laura Helle from Vision 2020 to fill us in, kind of give us the global. Welcome.
Yeah,
You're
thanks.
still smiling.
I am smiling, yes. Things are going very, very well.
Yes?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of progress.
Yeah, we've been hearing about it week after week. What are some of the high points that you look at after, what's it been, 6 months now, is our Vision 2020?
Well, in April, it will have been a year since the, so about 11 months.
Was that the unveiling? Was in April that night? Oh my gosh.
Yep, yeah, doesn't time go by like that? Yeah. So a couple of things that have happened this month is we're working on grants with MnDOT. There's 2 different committees that are accessing funds through MnDOT, and so we've been working with the City of Austin to get those done.
Okay, and the Department of Transportation impacts us, I would assume, because of the I-90. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep, that's one part of it. So the Gateway to Austin Committee, their mission is to improve the I-90 corridor, the image of it, and then they're also going to be adding an overpass and so forth. But the first thing that they're going to work on right away this summer is some landscaping around those interstate exits. And so MnDOT has a program where their landscape architect will help you with the design, and then they pay for plants anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000 a year, and then you can renew that multiple times for several years in a row to do those projects. So.
Well, I remember years and years ago, this is way off topic, folks. This happens from time to time. I kind of digress. But I mean, what was it, 20 years ago when then President Gorbachev came to the Twin Cities? I don't know if you remember that, still with the Soviet Union. It was a huge deal that this was the Soviets wanted to come and visit the Twin Cities. And I remember the government came in, the White House, and beautified where the limo was going to go on the interstate on 94. And I mean, it looked like a paradise. After like 3 days, they put in all this grass and trees and spray painted everything so the camera angle, so that it would look great. And maybe we could use some of that. And I'm not saying bring back Gorby, but gee.
Yeah, well, I think we can expect a transformation, something like that this summer. Just a few days, and it'll look like a paradise out along 90.
There you go.
How's that sound?
That's great. It's important. We've got all those exits, so that's huge.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
What else? Waterways?
The other
high points?
Yeah, the other MnDOT grant that we're working on is Safe Routes to Schools, where they help support biking routes for kids to bike to school, kind of encouraging healthy living and more biking. And so Steve Lang at the City Engineer's Office has been working with the Bike Walk Committee and putting together an application for that. So if we win that grant, MnDOT consultants will be coming down in the fall and having meetings at the schools and putting together maps of the safe routes for the kids to walk and bike, and also where infrastructure is needed. You know, do we need a crosswalk here, a signal button, or so forth.
Are you anticipating the need to recharge your committees like on an annual basis? Like, do we need to make a call again for new volunteers all the time? You know what I mean? I mean, when you're in public service and you're volunteering, you come on, you do stuff, and then it's okay to move on and move off, and then you need new people to come in?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think any volunteer organization should be like a bathtub with the drain open and the tap on. So some are moving on to other projects, but more are coming in all the time. So yeah, it's not that we're going to have a month or a week where it's time to jump on board. It's that we're always looking for those right people. And also we recognize people have times in their life where, okay, now I have 6 months, or now I have a year, or the summer's a great time for me to be involved, or whatever. So yeah, absolutely.
All right, Laura, thank you very much. Laura Helle from Vision 2020. And that'll do it for this edition of On Cue. I'm Eric Olson. Have a great day. See you next time.
On Cue is a production of KSMQ Television in Austin, nonprofit public television.